Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're here today because we're going to decode something that frankly confuses a ton of dance fans and casual observers alike. We're stepping onto the floor to untangle the fascinating, overlapping world of tango. It's a dance of incredible passion, precision, and history. But hey, if you've ever watched a social dance on a lively weekend and then flipped the channel to a highly structured dance competition, you might have felt a little disoriented. Well, today we are breaking down the history and the technique to give you the ultimate visual guide on how to tell these two distinct styles apart.
So, here's our central mystery. We've got two dances, right? Both proudly carrying the name tango, both sharing this undeniable family resemblance, yet they deliver two completely different visual and emotional experiences to anyone watching. I mean, why does one look like an intimate, totally unpredictable conversation while the other looks like a spectacular, high-speed geometric display? How did one single dance family split into two such wildly distinct paths?
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. 1. The roots of the tango. 2. Posture and movement goals. 3. Footwork and musical timing. 4. The role of improvisation. And 5. How to spot the difference.
Let's start with Section 1, Roots of the Tango. To really grasp what we're seeing on the dance floor today, we've got to rewind the clock a bit and trace both dances back to where their paths diverged. Argentine Tango. It grew organically, straight out of the social dance culture of Argentina, particularly in those vibrant, crowded spaces of Buenos Aires. It was literally a dance of the people, heavily tied to the local culture and the intimate relationship between the dancers and the music playing in the room. Ballroom Tango, however, took a totally different route. As the tango crossed oceans and entered the international ballroom circuits, it changed. It was formalized and codified specifically for international competition stages. It was built to be judged rather than just felt.
Now, because Argentine Tango stayed true to its social roots, it kept improvisation front and center of its identity. But here's the thing, it didn't just stay one single style. Depending on the physical space available in those Buenos Aires venues, it diversified into specific substyles. You have milonguero, which evolved for packed dance floors and requires a much smaller, tighter, close walk style. And then you have salon style, which is much more expansive and sweeping, used when dancers actually had room to breathe and move around. Both are Argentine, but they perfectly adapted to their environment.
So, the crucial point here is that ballroom tango needed standardized rules. I mean, think about it. You can't fairly judge 20 different couples on a competition floor if everyone's just doing their own purely improvised thing, right? To fix this, the international circuits introduced line-of-dance concepts, so couples wouldn't literally crash into each other at high speeds. They instituted strict technical expectations to ensure consistency and comparability across the board. The ballroom style was meticulously engineered for the stage and the judges' scorecards.
Moving right along to Section 2, Posture and Movement Goals.
And this brilliantly illustrates how those totally different goals physically shape the dancers' bodies and their connections. In Argentine Tango, you'll see a lower, more grounded torso. Experts literally call this a listening posture. They are physically tuned in to sense their partner's subtle shifts and the music's pauses. Ballroom Tango, conversely, utilizes a highly formalized frame. The posture is incredibly upright, projecting outwards to an audience, with a regulated hold that almost never breaks its shape. It's all about creating this stunning visual silhouette that stays perfectly intact as they fly across the floor.
That difference in frame completely dictates how they move through space. Argentine dancers use this super dynamic mix of walking and sudden, sharp directional changes. And the lead communicates these changes not through rigid arms, but through incredibly subtle torso and leg signals. It's fluid, it's internally focused. Ballroom dancers, on the other hand, travel in a beautifully controlled, continuous line around the floor. They prioritize repeatable figures and patterns that highlight shape, perfect symmetry, and a flawless overall presentation to the room.
Next up, Section 3, Footwork and Musical Timing.
Let's bring our focus down to the floor, where the feet actually connect with and interpret the music. I love this phrase, a close musical conversation between partners. It's just perfectly said. When you watch Argentine footwork, you aren't watching a memorized script. You are watching an intricate, real-time response to rhythm changes, sudden musical accents, and those dramatic silent pauses.
That conversational vibe means Argentine footwork is full of quick weight transfers, really deep grounding steps, and these stylized pauses that just sort of linger on a note. It breathes, you know? Ballroom footwork, on the flip side, is a whole different ballgame.
It feels pre-written because, well, in a way it is. The focus is strictly on the clarity of pattern steps, highly controlled momentum, and that famous, characteristic tango walk, where the feet strike the floor with absolute precision. It's all about projecting clean, powerful lines.
Let's move to Section 4, the role of improvisation. Let's see how all this builds into the core philosophical difference between the two dances, because this is what's actually happening in the dancers' minds in the exact moment of the dance. This is the true divider. Argentine tango is highly improvisational. Even when two dancers know the exact same movement vocabulary, the sequence they dance is going to change from moment to moment based entirely on a subtle shift in the partner's connection or a new cue from the music. Literally, no two dances are ever the same. In ballroom tango, improvisation is deliberately a very low priority. Remember, it's a competitive sport. Partners have to execute specific, highly choreographed figures with dependable spacing and comparable alignment so judges can actually evaluate their technique against the couple dancing right next to them.
Finally, Section 5, how to spot the difference. We've covered the history, the frame, the feet, and the philosophy. Now, what's really interesting about this matrix is how it gives you a rapid-fire field guide to transform you into an informed spectator. First, check the frame. Is it close and grounded or upright and formal? Next, feel the vibe. Does the dance look elastic, full of pauses and sudden changes, or is it geometric and pattern-driven, just eating up the floor? Finally, what's the goal? Are they engaged in a private musical dialogue, or are they presenting a competition-ready spectacle? If you keep these cues in mind, you can instantly tell them apart.
So there you have it. We've unraveled the mystery. We've seen exactly how one cultural phenomenon branched into two wildly beautiful but fundamentally different expressions of art and athleticism. And understanding these nuances doesn't just make you a better dancer, it makes you a much more engaged observer. It completely transforms the way you experience the music and the movement. I really hope you feel empowered by this breakdown. Next time you hear those iconic strings and a couple takes the floor, look closely at their frame, their feet, and their connection. Which tango will you be watching? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep observing, keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.